All right, hello and welcome to our monthly webinar. My name is Mike Plum. I'm the Manager of Customer Enablement and Adoption here at Litera Microsystems. So once again, I'm going to take the easy road and only introduce today's topic, roping in a colleague to do the heavy lifting. So during today's webinar, our subject matter expert, Matt James, from our product evangelism team, will dive into the create and check space of the document lifecycle. Matt will showcase the value of the technology that was created for individuals who own the content, can make decisions on intention, and need easy buttons for overcoming complex drafting challenges. His main focus will cover several of our products from our companion suite. So Matt is a member of the document lifecycle evangelism team and is an expert in the lawyer's work stream and how our solutions can simplify those processes. With over 10 years in the legal technology field, Matt has a strong grasp on the needs of lawyers and the technologies that can make their lives easier. So as always, we love your feedback and welcome it on our various webinar topics. So let us know how we did and if you thought this was a relevant webinar topic. We'll provide a short survey at the end to get your thoughts. If you have any questions during the session, please enter them in your question window and we'll answer as many as we can during the Q&A session at the end. If you missed a previous session, all of our past webinars are on YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube and type Litera Microsystems. And also our most recent webinars that fall under our new Litera Learning umbrella are now available at litera.com under the resources menu. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Matt to begin the webinar.
Great, thanks, Mike. One thing that I'd like to speak to just beyond my title here is the Evangelist team that I'm a part of. And ultimately what our goal is internally is to hold our product team accountable for creating products and enhancements that are answering challenges or trends that are occurring in the legal market, as well as evangelizing for the solutions that we offer. But a big piece too is to help with some of the internal concerns that tend to be around the adoption of technology. So we'll go through some of these things today, but understand that we come from a team that's to help everybody get the investment that is spent on technology and the value through that, and then use out of tools such as the companion suite that we'll take a look at today. These are the discussion topics that you probably saw when you signed up for the webinar. So just to reiterate, what we're looking to go over is we will speak to the individual components that make up the companion suite. More importantly, we're going to speak to the marriage of these solutions and really deeper into how 1 + 1 = 3. And we'll bring up some examples there that really focus on the intuitive nature of the workflow. And then the last piece here before we get into a demonstration is to show why we know that these are solutions lawyers need on a day-to-day, facing the challenges that the market brings, or maybe the new work habits of the workforce. And the actual demonstration will show how we can eliminate some of those hurdles, because ultimately producing high quality work in tighter timelines is where we live today, right? The legal document is a tangible item of the law firm, and the tighter timelines are pressures that we're experiencing from our clients. So first and foremost, I put a companion definition type of element here, and really what the definition means from a Litera Microsystems perspective. So companion to us really means lawyer focused and quick to value. The lawyer focused element is all about the workflow. These may be one-click solutions, but if they're an additional click, that's an additional click that the lawyer is not going to take. And they need to be quick to value, and that's more of an IT side of things, right? This needs to be something that doesn't require a heavy amount of IT resources to set up, or configurations that need to be put in place for anyone to find value. These are solutions that are plug and play. They can be put on the machine immediately, and someone will find value to it because it's intuitive to the type of work that they're producing. So as we look here, the products that truly do make up the companion suite are Clause Companion, Contract Companion, and Litigation Companion, flavors really of the same type of review product, and then DocX Tools Companion. And what we find, and part of the reason that we're having this webinar today, is that these products independently of one another are valuable, but they're far more valuable and far more usable when they are combined with one another. And when we speak to that, really what we're looking at is what you'll see here on the left-hand side, which is the ability to add content, the ability to review content, repair it, and build it, right? Removing the branding from the product names to the lawyer, it's all about allow me to provide or allow me to accomplish tasks that I'm looking to accomplish. And in producing work product, I'm going to add content. I'm going to review it for risk or quality concerns. I'm likely going to have to repair something that happened within that Word document through multiple iterations, or maybe it went out the door and came back in. And I'm likely going to have to build elements, table of authorities, table of contents, cross-references. So speaking in this language helps the overall workflow from someone who's more traditional, a paper attorney, as I say, to someone who is a younger associate, often the mindset of there's got to be an app for this. The marriage is really kind of an important piece. So I just really used the marriage symbol as a Venn diagram here to show that, for example, we could have a product that surfaces and reviews content for concerns related to inaccuracies and consistencies. Or on the far right side, we could have a product that simply you click a button and it performs an action. It corrects numbering or it performs some sort of event. But the combination of the two of these is intuitive to the workflow. Help me understand where there are issues that lie in the document, surface those for me, and then give me an action that allows me to correct those, rather than blindly running an action or providing some sort of guidance to say, here's what's going on within your document. Now you need to manually fix this or pass it off to someone else for help. And then that really plays into what we see here, which is the 1 + 1 = 3 element, right? So any combination of 2 or more of the companion products lead to this harmonization or this synergy of these solutions. We focus heavily understanding the challenges that are sometimes faced with training on making transferable skills between our products. And the benefit there is that you don't need to be trained on all of these products independently. You learn one set of skills and it's going to work across the board of the companion suite. So the ability to maybe identify placeholders and then have access to the content that needs to go into those placeholders, right? That's beneficial in the fact that it's giving you an action to perform when you find a concern in the document, but it also is avoiding some reputational mistakes that can be associated with copy and paste, right? That some non-critical things maybe along the lines of fonts look different. This document doesn't look like it came from our firm, or it looks like it was Frankenstein together, to the point where copy and paste can prevent the document from getting out the door on time or being able to create some of the elements that need to go in. Another example that we'll look at is about identifying outlining mistakes, right? So the numbering in the document is incredibly important from an accuracy perspective. Internally, when I do a lot of training here, we talk about employment agreements, right? If you're speaking to an area of the document that refers to your salary and that area of the document doesn't exist, there's going to be some concerns there, right? So structural concerns impact content as much as content will impact the overall structure of the document. The last piece here is going to focus more so on why we know lawyers will need and use this technology. Now, there's an element to adopting the technology, right? It needs to be intuitive, it needs to be front and center, it needs to be easy, and it needs to make sense from a workflow perspective. An individual is not going to take 8 to 10 clicks to accomplish a task or leave the applications that they spend time in and go and use those products. And if they do, you're not getting a wide variety of use cases, because people prefer to just find a technique inside of the application they're in. But I took a different approach here, because I think as we get into the demonstration, that will showcase itself. This is from our Changing Lawyer publication, and it's an annual publication that we do, and we release it at ILTA every year. And it's backed by 6, 7, or 8 this year research techniques that we've used to generate these numbers. And a couple that I think are important to speak to really is this is the focus of client behavior and attitude, right? So the lack of loyalty, I think, is very obvious that that's going to be associated with competition. People are looking around to see where they can get the best price. How can I get high quality work at a cheaper cost in a quicker timeline, right? Or the expectation of getting answers more quickly, right? That's more towards the efficiency side of things, 61% there. And then obviously an increased cost conscious when they are shopping around, which is maybe a fixed fee arrangement. Maybe it's something that requires that the work product remains at the quality that it has been, but is delivered at a higher speed, right? And technology is really the mechanism to do this. And technology is not designed to replace anybody's job. Technology is designed to automate some of the tasks that either by human nature are not what we're experts at, or help us eliminate some of those risks that just can't go out the door and really make no sense in today's day and age. So here's some of the market trends that I think are pressuring people to leverage technology and to better serve their clientele. So the next piece here really is all about eliminating those hurdles to producing high quality work with those tighter timelines. I'm gonna jump out of PowerPoint here, and what I'm going to do is I want to step into Microsoft Word. And by stepping into Microsoft Word, what I'll be able to do is really showcase what I have as a large ribbon, right? Our solution set for the ribbon. But what we're focused on today is the clause, the review, and repair. And as we spoke earlier in one of the slides, it's not about branding. It's about accomplishing a task that that is required to produce this work product. And what I'd like to leverage really is the review element of it to facilitate how these products can work together with one another. And the review element, for those of you who are interested, is the contract companion or the litigation companion, where the product is designed to really surface the risk associated with using this document. And what we can immediately see here is that I have 25 items that require my attention. It's likely due to the fact that this is work product that was found in the document management system or has been reused over time. And then within these subtitles, I can focus my attention on where I want to spend my time. There is no exact workflow, right? Everybody takes their own approach. And often what we find is when a document is opened, immediately we want to begin putting content in there. But one thing I want to point out is that through the navigation pane here, what we can see is that there is a series of concerns related to the numbering. We can see that there are duplications maybe of our articles, or that the Roman numerals are wrong, or that we're skipping paragraphs. And we spoke heavily to how important outlining continuity is from an accuracy perspective. And on the right-hand side, what we'll see here is that there are numbering issues that Contract Companion here in this case can identify. And I think one of the heavily are underutilized elements of a product like this is the ability to organize by category, which will give you insights into the document that you can't get anywhere else, right? Here are where your numbering is out of order. Here's where your numbering is repeated. And you can absolutely click to each of these and you can navigate and you can correct those, right? You could manually go through the process of correcting one paragraph and then going to the next paragraph that requires correcting. And there's an element there that doesn't you really align with the efficiency capabilities of what technology is offering. So if we take a look at this and we see these 13 issues, which were making up the majority, or I guess half, slightly over half of our risk assessment, if we take a look at those and leverage the repair element where we can click this numbers button, we'll quickly see that we can eliminate some of the challenges associated with the outline to really focus on the content, which was the ultimate goal of those who are drafting work product. I like to say that this is our 20 to 25 years of experience in one button. We know what the end result desired result is of this document. We can align with firm standards from make a firm document and what style set should go out. We can honor the fact that maybe this originated from the outside and that we have numbering schemes that need to be maintained and utilized throughout. On the left-hand side here, we can quickly see that the document now has continuity, Article 1 through Article 6. We don't have duplications, we don't have skip numbering. On the right-hand side, the review pane is telling us that. We can clearly see that there are no numbering issues associated with it. And then as we step back, we've made corrections to the document. And the reason that there's only 11 attention items is we were probably speaking to areas of the document that didn't exist. Once we were able to enforce continuity, those typed references were now able to be picked up and identified. Now, I had mentioned earlier on, one of the first desires when a document is opened is to add content. And through Contract Companion here, as I said, facilitating the companion suite, what we can quickly see are placeholders that live in the document, right? And there's a variety of different techniques for how a placeholder be inserted, but repeatable characters, highlighting, colored text, bracketed text, underlining, you name it. But what we'll see is that we can quickly find those areas in which content needs to be added. And this allows document reuse, document automation, any sort of document that comes into the document to be heavily utilized. And often this is when we find copy and paste is the lawyer's friend, right? So we're pulling from multiple content sources. Maybe we open a series of documents and we begin modifying them and eventually find out we've been working in the wrong document. Maybe we're pulling from the web. Maybe this is a scenario where I bring in different definitions and now my quotations are off. And we're looking to ultimately eliminate those hurdles as we've said about this demonstration. So what I want to showcase is that while I can still use Contract Companion from a navigation perspective, I can also use a clause library, right? And this comes from Clause Companion. And as I open those, what we'll see is that I now have a repository of curated clauses, content, however you want to name it, available to me within Word. So one, I'm staying within my application. Two, I'm not having to open multiple documents and jump back and forth between those. And the third piece here is that this is content that is approved that I feel comfortable using, right? So as I look at defining AHF collateral, I can come into maybe my firm definitions. I can find that particular term here, and then what I can do is simply double click it and we'll see that it adheres to the document. So it's about bringing content in that is not only appropriate but also isn't creating additional steps where now I need to rely heavily on these consistency tools to change my font or my font type or my spacing or my quotes that you can see here that we have in the drop down. So as I step through this, I can continuously navigate through the right hand side. I can find the appropriate areas of text that I want to bring in. With a simple double click, I can replace placeholders, or I could always go in and put content in just at the cursor level. But as I quickly just step through a couple of these, you'll see there's a folder structure here that allows me to feel comfortable with it as I would in a file system. I can find the particular clauses that are appropriate. And as I begin bringing those in, what we'll see is that they'll adhere to the document. So they honor the numbering or maybe a subparagraph and the numbering associated with that. And as I continuously step through these, I can start to build out a document based off of language that I've previously used. And I've eliminated the need to go into the document management system and find these other areas. I've eliminated the need to copy and paste. And ultimately, I've made my life a little bit easier where I go to generate a table of contents before this document goes out the door, and I don't have those problems associated with it. So what we'll see here is that as if I would go through and correct all of these, I'd no longer have incomplete items. And then maybe the last step would be to come back and look at where my risk is associated with the content. And this is really where we focus our lawyer-focused mindset of Friday, April 2nd, 2016 truly is not a Friday. Do you want to correct that? Do you want to make that a Saturday or do you want to make that a Friday? And you can come directly into the document and make those changes. And again, on the right-hand side, you'll automatically have that updating. So the ability to use a solution like this that's automatically going to update doesn't dictate workflow, but does allow you to proof while you're drafting rather than only waiting for the last 10 minutes before this document needs to go out the door and meet a deadline. And fully supports the way that you work today in a scenario where if you do want to turn on track changes and make corrections where maybe your numerical value doesn't match the way you've written it out, you can go ahead and do so. And again, still on the right-hand side, have those corrections. As we eliminate errors or alleviate errors, the same would apply if we introduce those, and they would present themselves here. And obviously, much more that these tools can do from a standpoint of collaboration or focusing attention on editing mistakes and so forth. But the mindset here is that this allows us to safely reuse content, ensure continuity in the document, correct any of those reputational or quality mistakes. And again, there's a focus on the ability to be efficient. Firms are still profitable today, absolutely, but there's definitely more and more of a focus on margins and being able to find efficiencies that allow us to do things in a manner that allow us to meet those demands, but still be profitable and even increase our margin of profitability. The last piece that I want to speak to, and obviously I would correct all of these issues, is the ability to build, right? So as I showed those, add content, review, repair, we also want to build components. And if you saw earlier in the incomplete items, I did have a placeholder for a table of contents. So I'll turn off track changes really quickly here and then quickly showcase how with one click of the table of contents, It will allow me to proceed with track changes. We understand the importance of working on documents in track changes. And we'll see here as well that it's all about legal legibility. This isn't a concrete set of rules saying, here's how we create a table of contents. This is saying we understood the way that the document has been structured. These are the amount of levels that would be appropriate for your table of contents. And in this case, it's 2, but it would support up to 9, as any multi-level numbering scheme would. And when this is created, we will see that it is legally legible. And as what I mean by that is we go to AHF per payment amount here, we'll quickly see that there is nothing that denotes that should be the part brought in, but the technology is capable of identifying what we consider a run-in heading or a level of emphasis. I even like to showcase that, there's a funny conversation about how the quality of document work is so high, but when it goes out the door and comes back in, that's when it's a nightmare, right? And I want to showcase how the document is set up for success, where if I do click enter here, the individual clicks enter, we will see that the numbering is incremented appropriately. But as we know, when that document goes out the door, that may not always be the case. Someone may choose to rely on copy and paste or manually typing in their medical plan and put more text to come. And now what we found is that we've introduced that ambiguity around numbering, repeated numbering, that contract companion absolutely will pick up. And while our technology is proprietary based, everything we do is native to Word. So if someone were to come in here and update this table of contents, they could, but we would not see the updated content in the document. And the reason being, as majority of us probably know, is that it's not honoring the styles, which is kind of a word that we don't really necessarily throw around to those who are drafting, but it's not honoring the dependencies for generating the table of contents. Again, as proactive as our products are, they're also reactive. A simple click of our table of contents, allowing us to proceed through track changes, not only will update the table of contents to reflect that paragraph, it will truly go into the document and then assign the appropriate style for continuity and numbering. So we'll quickly see here that section 2.2 now exists. And as we navigate there, we can see that the numbering has been appropriately updated in the document. So the important element here is that these technologies can help one another. They can provide additional insight, and it's great to see that they can go ahead and make the corrections where necessary. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hop back into the presentation. We're going to pause for a moment. We see some questions coming in. I know we're getting close to the top of the hour and we want to correct those. And as we look at those, I would just want to showcase some of the 2018 topics of webinars that Mike had referenced that we've showcased. Using the companion suite being today, and what's coming next is in July, what's new in the Innova application, if you're interested in seeing that. The other piece that I'll keep up on screen here while we answer some of these questions is the continued learning links, where you can contact our training team, where you can follow us on the social media, and then, as we said, everything is always posted to our YouTube channel. Okay, so we do have a couple of questions here. One was in regards to the changing lawyer. So it said you had mentioned the changing lawyer. Where can I find a copy of that? That is something that we do have a digital copy of. So I can bring this up here so that we could take a look at, let's go ahead and move this. We could take a look at the URL. As I said, we do release these at ILTA, so we will have physical copies. You can also go to litera.com. / the changing lawyer with dashes between the words, and you'll have the ability to take a look at this. Again, all about workforce habits, market trends, pressures, a lot of surveys that we've done around the industry. Another question came in around the PowerPoint speaking to Litigation Companion, but not actually in the demo. Can we speak more to its offerings? Absolutely. So as you saw the review pane on the right-hand side, Litigation Companion is really a branded version of Contract Companion for those who don't generate contracts, right? So first and foremost, as we spoke, we want to avoid user disruption or any confusion of where technology lives. So providing something that's called Contract Companion to someone who's not doing contract work doesn't really play in that space. So Litigation Companion, same thing. It's about surfacing inconsistencies in content with a heavier focus around citation validation, not case law wise as some of the research platforms do necessarily, but more along the lines of are you using the appropriate form in the appropriate locations, order of operation type of element. But again, it's about identifying the quality and the risk associated with sending that document or that content out externally. And it looks like we have one more, and feel free to send more in, and we can always get back as we approach the hour here. This one is about what is the effort that it takes from a firm perspective to implement the companion suite. As I kind of alluded to in the demonstration, these are quick to value solutions, right? So they're meant to be something that can immediately be put into someone's machine, a plug and play type of application. Value is identified based on the type of work the individual is doing on a daily basis. From an IT perspective, there isn't heavy configurations, right? This usually comes with maybe a day of services that's around training, and it's less about how to use the product because it's click the button, right? But it's more about when would I use this and how do I interpret these results. A lot of the product is color coded to say here's a level of importance versus something that maybe is more informational, and if you have extra time, you should be able to take a look at that. And then the one more did pop in, which is citationware going to be part of the suite? So for those of you who are unavailable, unaware, citationware is a standalone table of authorities product that we have, and in fact, it is being built into the companion suite, where individuals who may be doing brief type of work and are reviewing through Litigation Companion then say, okay, where's the next piece of this where I can build out my table of authorities? So that is something that we do offer today. It is being built onto the same platform to really align with those transferable skills, but that is the technology and platform that we're offering from a litigation perspective. And I think that is the last question. So I appreciate everybody joining today. Again, feel free to follow us on any of our social media accounts or reach out if there's additional questions or feedback. And we look forward to seeing you at the next session that will be about what's new in Innova.